Hello, everyone. I'm Mandy Knapp, State Librarian of Ohio. In today's world, we can't sit still. We've always got to be growing, learning, changing, adapting to this new world that we find ourselves. And as a lifelong librarian, it is no different in our profession. Librarians of today are not even the librarians we were 5 or 10 years ago. We're constantly seeing new situations, learning new ideas, implementing those ideas, and moving forward. And that's why it's so important to learn more as we move forward. So I'd like to take this opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about the training and professional development that comes using through the Library Services Technology Act grants funded through the Institute of Museum and Library Services.
Hi there. I'm Evan Struble. I'm the Associate State Librarian here at the State Library of Ohio, and it is my immense privilege to be responsible for utilizing the federal funds that we receive from the Institute of Museum and Library Services, IMLS, to support library staff from all library types around the state of Ohio. One of the ways that we utilize those federal funds is to look for opportunities for training and development for library staff at all levels, again, at all library types, as far reaching as we can. And today I'm going to talk about a few of those initiatives that we use federal funds for and that we hope you're taking advantage of at your library. I'm going to start with some youth services focused training that we do. And the first that I want to name check is the Ohio Ready to Read initiative. This is a partnership between the State Library of Ohio and the Ohio Library Council, OLC, and it's kind of spun out of the national Every Child Ready to Read movement. It involves a series of workshops that we center around the state called Early Literacy 101. They're held at different library locations throughout the year, and you probably will see notices about them on various library listservs, encouraging you to register for those events to learn how best to support children and their caregivers as they are preparing to be expected to read in a school or educational setting. Similar to that, we also are proud to do a series of workshops centered around school readiness called Reimagining School Readiness. This was born out of an initiative that started in California and has since almost taken on a life of its own here through the work of one of our library consultants and some very dedicated library volunteers. Similar to the Early Literacy 101 workshops, the Reimagining School Readiness workshops are hosted throughout the state. There's also some that are held online as well. And the slight difference here is that these workshops, in addition to more traditional literacy games and learning and ideas, also incorporates all the other facets that go into preparing a child age 0 through 8 actually for an educational setting, truly imagining them for school readiness overall, which of course literacy is a large component of that. We also are proud to serve library staff that work directly with teens through a program called Take 5. This is an annual in-person event that takes place at a different location each year. We try to shake up geographically where it's hosted. And it is a day of learning, of interacting with others like you that are serving teens in your community. We try to really drill down and see what it is that makes a teenager tick and how we can best support them emotionally, literacy-wise, and their own development. One of my favorite things about this event, having been involved with it for the past several years, is that we always try to find a way of incorporating actual teens into the programming. Often that means a panel of teens, which you never quite know exactly what they're going to say when librarians ask them what it is that they like and don't like about libraries and library staff. Always an enlightening day, and I highly recommend that event. We also look for ways to support library staff who are interested in, but maybe just don't quite have the skill set yet, interested in how to properly digitize and curate digital collections. And one of the ways that we do that is that we create a cohort from Library Juice Academy called the Digital Curation Certificate Program. Each year, we entreat people to apply to be a part of this cohort. I believe our current cohort has 15 members. This cohort will go through 6 kind of academic level courses, learning about some of the basics of how to provide metadata for, how to preserve digital files, how to store, how to safely transcribe and go through the digitization process of fragile materials. It really has given a boost to library staff that perhaps haven't had an opportunity to go through a higher education program or just haven't had the chance to really sit down with a collection that needs to be digitized. It really is kind of the nuts and bolts of that. We will be offering that again in the coming year, and so be on the lookout for an entreatment to apply for that. I want to talk about 2 of the State Library of Ohio's premier leadership programs, leadership in general in library land. The first one is ILEAD Ohio. The ILEAD Ohio leadership program is a team-based leadership program, and it's held in odd-numbered years. So if you're watching this in 2025, we're currently going through an ILEAD iteration and cohort as we speak. What makes this program really special is that you apply as a team with a pitch for an idea that you'd like to see come to fruition to support the betterment of library land. And it's really fascinating to see what folks are really thinking about and trends that they might be seeing that perhaps we aren't, or other professions aren't seeing, that librarians can really bring to the table. I love this program. It's a true multi-type program. We strongly encourage the teams that are applying to be made up of not only public librarians, but academic library staff, school library staff, special library staff. Make that team as diverse as possible in terms of size of library, location of library, and library type. The ILEAD program is held in person for 3 different 3-day sessions. And so if your team is accepted to be a part of the ILEAD program, there is an expectation that you would be on site for those 3-day sessions spread out over the course of an odd-numbered year. Alumni of that program affectionately refer to this initiative as library camp, and I can't really be critical of that phrase. Having been involved with this program and staying on site with the cohort, there are very camp-like things, including sometimes s'mores around a campfire to end a long day of learning. On even-numbered years, the State Library of Ohio is pleased to have the Library Leadership Ohio program. This is a leadership program for library staff at all levels from all library types to apply as an individual for one intensive 3-day session held offsite at a location to be determined, and really dig into whatever it takes to make a leader of the day in library land in that moment. Having been involved with that program as well in the past, the planning committee really strives to bring in state and national level library leaders, often including ALA presidents and some other nationally known library speakers, to really spend some time with the Library Leadership Ohio cohort and help them drill down about what makes them tick as a leader, and how even perhaps non-traditional leadership facets can be lifted up and supported, and it doesn't have to be maybe what we've been told our leadership abilities from the past. I like that people come into this program with an open mind to learn new ways to be leaders from what we've been traditionally told. Both the ILEAD Ohio program and Library Leadership Ohio are partnerships with our friends at OhioNet, a library membership organization based here in Columbus, Ohio. They serve multi-type libraries like we do, and it's a perfect fit. Their staff are so game to come up with curricula and ideas for programming, and we're very grateful for them to be our fiscal agent as well on both of those endeavors. I'm going to end this video with a call out to a couple different online training opportunities that we provide at a statewide level. The first is the Ryan Dowd suite of trainings that are accessed through Niche Academy. It was called, and I think still is called, the Librarian's Guide to Homelessness Training. And it started out as a bank of trainings to help library staff interact with their constituents that might be experiencing homelessness, how best to support and serve that community, and how best to train their own staff to support and work with folks who are experiencing homelessness. But since that package of training was acquired, Ryan Dowd and his team have really expanded the webinars and the online content that they provide to really broaden the focus a little bit more on social work issues in general. I highly recommend checking out the live webinar that's held monthly on a rotating topic, as well as the archived webinars that are provided to you free of charge with federal funds to go back and look at when you have time. Finally, we do contribute some funds, some federal funds to OCLC's WebJunction product. WebJunction is an online repository of different types of online training, some synchronous, some asynchronous, on a bevy of topics. Use that search bar liberally, and you will find training on whatever the topic is that you desire. There are definitely some trainings in there that have been in there for a while, but the information is still evergreen, as well as topics that are just of the moment, were developed just days and weeks ago and contributed by some partners from around the country. So check it out. It's worth dipping your toe in the WebJunction waters. This is just a small sampling of the training initiatives and the development opportunities that the State Library of Ohio uses federal funds for each year. As I've said in other videos that I've recorded, we are open to feedback and suggestions. And so if there is something that you're hoping to receive training on, or if there's a product or a training module that you were hoping to receive access to, please reach out. We're happy to hear those suggestions and see what we can do to point you in the right direction and meet those training needs that you are looking for.